Well, guys, we are back, and it's been quite a week filled with news, starts of productions, casting, and some major Spider-Man news to go along with all this. And we're going to cover all that and more in today's show. Which, of course, brings me to the intro. And just to quickly say thank you to everybody for all the support, for the uptick in new members joining the community. As always, make sure you guys are checking that community tab throughout the week because we have additional discussions, gaming podcasts and discussions, audio commentaries, and various other things rolling out each and every week. And now with the audio commentaries tier, now that The Falcon and the Winter Soldier has officially wrapped up, or is wrapping up if you're listening to this early on the community side, we will be going into the rest of the Snyder Cut and additional films that will roll out. So if you're looking for more audio commentaries, they're not going anywhere. There's actually going to be more than ever this year, all things considered. So now let's get to the show at hand. And once again, thank you everybody that does toss us a couple bucks a month. It really does go a long way. I was like, you know what, after the intro I pre-record, I'm not going to drag this intro out where we introduce ourselves, but then I'm like, you know what, I can make them wait, so maybe I will. I don't know. The anticipation for these topics has just got to build up. It's got to build up. This is the anticipation. This is like right before the beat drops when I'm about to lose consciousness before the pandemic. And they have to drag me out and just like stuff shawarma into my mouth to wake me up. Been there, done that. Look forward to it again. Anyways, yes, this is our meet. I am your host. I'm here to talk to you about so many topics. So many. This is so many topics that there's never been more topics that have been so many. It's just, see, I'm channeling the former president here of the United States with that build up.
It's big topics. Big. Biggest,
big.
The best.
You've never seen topics this big or better than this big. So yeah.
I was about to say one's not from China, but that's actually factual.
No. One is from China.
Oh.
This is a great segue to that topic when we get to it. But I am joined by Mitch, everybody.
What's up? You can find me Mitch692, where if you hear me wince, I'm currently in a lot of pain. I need everyone to know. I'm in a lot of pain.
Yep.
R.I.P. my big toe.
I hate it when you like stub a toe or something. You're just like, oh God, I'm gonna die.
I wouldn't even mind, but I'm not entirely sure how I did it. It's like I've scraped the corner of it along the concrete in our garden.
Oh.
And it's like I didn't move my foot like that.
No.
No, I'm not entirely sure how it's happened. So yeah, got a nice quarter red toe, and it's just like, ow, I can't walk.
You know, since you did open this up with China, they have great remedies there for all sorts of things. Like, I don't like to put, like, pills or anything, and I hate all that, condensed medicine. Chinese medicine, though, there's some good stuff out there you can get. It's just like, look, herbs, and it works on stuff, because that's the stuff I use. Just how it goes. And speaking of China, I like to buy action figures. This is a known fact, and Ninja Turtles are expensive. The NECA figures are ridiculous because secondhand market. If you buy them from China, they're 100% bootleg. But unless you got the closest, like most, like I can inspect this and I'm an expert eye, you won't notice. So you can buy any NECA figure off of like AliExpress for about 100% less than it's going to cost you on eBay. Like legit, they're like below even the normal retail price.
A whole 100% off.
I'm not, like, sometimes I've actually seen it like pay just the shipping. And I'm like, well, shipping's like $30, but there's a 4-pack of the turtles and they're identical. So yeah.
Cracked open one of them.
Yes.
There might be a reason why.
So I've actually like bought the movie 4-pack and like sat it right next to my authentic ones that I bought here, and looking at them, it like legit. Unless you start going into it and like looking at the exact joints and things, you can't tell. So if you're just using them for display, get the Chinese knockoffs because they're as good. So there you go. That's a pro tip. Use AliExpress. That website. Sometimes it's like Wish. Sometimes you hit home run, so gamble with your money, but
yep. Yeah, so how to put everyone off. Sometimes it's like Wish.
Only sometimes, like
Wish.com.
Like 1%, but otherwise it's pretty good. Just look at the reviews. But Yeah.
Speaking of figures, though, I got the first of the Final Fantasy VII remake figures in today.
Ooh.
I think the cost was my toe to have that. But, yeah, it's only been on pre-order since about a year ago.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's finally out.
First,
Now my bank account is just tumbling. It's like, oh.
Right. Because like first it was like, oh no, the boat like sank to the bottom of the ocean. What now? And then the boat gets stuck in the canal. It's like, what are these figures gonna get here?
Yeah, I'm certain that played a part in it as well.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
a lot of it was made in Hong Kong and couldn't get quality control people out there. Just like, oh,
No, there
okay.
are still figures. I'm waiting for it. They're like, they were supposed to come out in like August. I'm like, yep, here they're coming. They're gonna be here. All right.
It's just like, oh, yeah. So I'm happy with that.
Oh, and now,
Hopefully I don't get no.
like, Mitch, believe it or not, we're also gonna talk finances here. Have you invested in Doge?
No, I've been looking at it.
So
I can't lie. I have actually been looking at it, going, like, do I buy it?
So, like,
Buy it.
I do a little bit of stock here and there, and like in January, I was like, wow, I have $120 left over. What am I gonna do? And I looked through, and I was like, huh, Doge just went up. So, like, I was like, I'm just gonna buy like $100 worth of Doge. Well, I might have a new PC coming. That's everything top of the line. So Dogecoin helped me out there because like I've been having some issues with my PC with the heating, and I don't want to replace the water cooler myself. So I'm like, kids, if you want to invest, check out Doge. We're going to the moon.
How much
boys.
is Doge at the minute? What's it up to?
Crap. It keeps fluctuating up and down, so I don't really know. Here, the market opens up in like 15 minutes, but we are currently sitting at 27 cents a share before it cracks open. And
It's not bad.
the other day it was at like 45 or 48 or something. So like, yeah. But you know, this is something you sit on a little bit more. So kids, if you're interested in the CBC providing you financial tips, don't listen to me. But I'm just saying I made out good with Doge. So, what a world.
I might have to actually invest. I might have to.
I mean, look, Elon said we're going to the moon, man. So I had to jump in.
At least you didn't explode on landing.
Right. Well, that's when we get to Mars. That's just, it's all downhill from there. Yeah.
That's if you get back and you don't get eaten by your crewmates.
True.
Because apparently that's now. Just like, if you're gonna go, you might have to eat somebody.
I like the idea that this podcast so far has had nothing to do with quite clearly what people want us to get to, which is Spider-Man and talking about Flash. And this is that Millhouse, like, itchy and like scratchy. It's like, get to the fireworks meme. It's like, no, we're holding off.
See, this is the clickbait bit.
This is.
You need to pad everything out for the clicks.
Yeah. We're buying time for YouTube to insert those damn ads that they insert whenever the hell the video goes over 8 minutes or whatever they see fit. However the hell that works, I'm not really sure. But hey, you know what?
I don't even think they know.
No, it's just a robot doing it. So who the hell knows? It just detects and goes here. Okay, cool. So I guess that's our opening. So now we're actually gonna get to the damn show. Shang-Chi. I want to say this was unexpected drop for this trailer because I certainly didn't expect it. I didn't see anybody online. But, it's coming.
Like even Simu Liu was like, "Yeah, trailer in a couple of weeks." I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then Marvel was like, "Happy birthday!" Dropped it. Whether that's scripted or not, it probably is. At the same time,
I mean, you never know these days because, like, honestly, there was nothing on the internet. Nobody was reporting on it or even teasing it. It was just like silent. Oh, hey, here's the trailer. Or first it was the poster, and like 15 minutes later, the trailer dropped. It was like, oh, wow, this is nice. It was a good week.
It's a really nice poster as well. It's very basic, but it's a real nice poster.
It's
just looks good.
It really just gets out there. It's like, hey, it tells you, it's like, look, new character, never seen this guy before. It's different. It's, I don't know, like the reaction to it was, well, I don't want to say overwhelmingly positive because, of course, I'm like, look at the Instagram post on the Marvel Studios page. I'm going to check the comments. positive, positive, positive. Let's scroll a little bit more down. Oh, there they are. Here's the negative comments. You know, it's like,
Yeah. To be fair, then most of the negative stuff I've seen is angry Iron Fist fans. All 12 of them.
Hey, don't clump me in with those fans.
Because people.
I am not angry. I will have you know. I am more excited than anything because this, you know, it's like, yeah, Iron Fist got done dirty, but he'll get reintroduced in this series. I can just feel it. Like there's.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
It's.
I think the reason why they're angry though is people keep saying that Shang-Chi can beat Iron Fist, which is factually correct. It's true.
Yeah.
Iron Fist stands a chance, but absolutely not hope in hell.
Yeah,
And they're kind of like, oh no. It's just like, guys, look, he had a really bad show. He's kind of a mediocre character. Just get over it. It's fine. You can like the show and the mediocre character. It's fine.
It's what they did with him did not work. Shang-Chi at least looks somewhat, you know, more interesting than that show, and by somewhat I mean infinitely. So that it has that going for it.
Iron Fist is a left hand. Shang-Chi is the right hand.
Well, I do want to bring this up because it's something interesting that I noticed, and I don't know if you checked, but the target market for this movie is having the exact opposite reaction. Because, like, worldwide, it's like, oh yeah, people are like, cool, more Marvel, this looks interesting. Hong Kong and Taiwan are not having any of this. Like, it's more negative than positive. Right? Yeah, it's really interesting, and it's like, and what I found interesting more is that Hong Kong and like other Chinese territories are not so much in arms like about anything like that has to do there. It's like, oh, scenes were shot in China, ooh, Mulan problem. Instead, it's like the opposite. They're just like, no, not Shang-Chi for some reason. And my takeaway from looking at it and doing the whole translate, you know, reports from overseas is they're just not happy that the film was directed and it's in charge by people that are from America. But they think it looks good. That's the consensus.
That's fair.
Yeah. It does, like, I understand it. The moment I saw that, I was like, oh, now I understand the negative backlash. I get it. And it's, you know, I mean, there was never a scenario where Shang-Chi is produced and made all by China without Disney or Kevin Feige having his hands on it, right? Like, that just doesn't exist. Yeah. So it was always going to have people from the United States involved with it. So it's like one of those things, it's like, this thing is going to exist like this because it has to, and if it didn't exist like this, it wouldn't exist anyway. So it's like, it's a weird position to be in when you look at it.
I just hope it gets the same turnout as Black Panther did.
Yeah.
I hope that the Asian community does turn out for this, like the Black community came out for Black Panther.
Yeah.
Because from the look of it, this movie deserves it. This thing is like nuts. It looks crazy.
It does. It looks amazing. It looks interesting. It looks like a new corner of the MCU that we've never seen before. Like, and I've seen this with a lot of people as well. And this is sort of like, you know, how I gauge the normal people, right? Like, you put that net out there, you see, oh, who gets caught in that net of new things, right? And my wife, she's going to be a third-degree black belt, so she's friends with a lot of martial artists. So I have them obviously on my friends list, and I was like, I'm interested, because these people aren't your typical comic book fans, right? So I went and checked, and overwhelming amount of them were sharing that trailer. Even people that they're not like comic book fans, or they've seen a couple MCU films at most.
Yeah,
they were all sharing it, super excited. And my wife was like, check this out. Even in our private group, somebody shared a trailer, and it's all positive talk by martial artists being like, I can't wait to see this. So I think they've kind of cracked another little nut here that's like, look, let's get some of these people as well. Like, I think this thing is going to be pretty damn big. Like, it has all the makings of something that's going to bring in a whole different crowd. So that's...
Yeah, we just have to... Because they specifically didn't say where it's coming out. in this trailer. I know you don't tend to do that straight away, but in this current thing, it's kind of like just tell us where it's coming. So, I think if everything's okay, it's going to be huge. I think even if everything's not, if we're still not where we are now, I think it's got a good chance that if Godzilla versus Kong can do
exactly
400 million while having both, then there's no way this makes less.
Yeah, that's sort of my stance and like look on it as well. I think this is going to be pretty good, you know, for box office take, and Black Widow will quite clearly dictate this film's future. You know, it's like, hey, look, if video on demand is good enough, then maybe. But I think they want this to be theatrical, so I think that's how it's gonna go. It looks good. Most of the reactions are overwhelmingly positive, so I haven't seen too much negativity on it either from, like, you know, MCU fans. I mean, there's always your corner of the fan base that's like, they're pushing agendas. It's like, you guys just keep screaming into the void, like, just...
Yeah. It's like, oh no, an Asian person exists. It's woke. It's like, okay.
Okay.
That's literally it. Just like, okay, they exist. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's a thing. It's in this. Any closing thoughts on Shang-Chi that maybe we haven't covered?
I want to see it. That's about it.
That's about it.
And say what we haven't covered after that breakdown in this. No, I think we covered basically everything.
All right, good enough.
Actually, no, I want to see that little like flying testicle spirit thing.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
It's I have no idea how you pronounce it. I think it's like a Dijang, or something like that. It's like Dijiang or something. It's along those lines, but it's like a spirit that's like perpetually confused.
It was also nice for Marvel to hide Awkwafina's character and then for them to drop the toys 24 hours later and confirm exactly what we said in our breakdown. Oh, she's probably masking as someone. Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
And that toy looks like... That toy just screams Mulan to me.
It does, yeah.
It's like, the red kimono, the dark hair, the bow and arrow. Like, yeah, that's...
Yep.
That looks like a Mulan figure, Marvel. But...
We gotta repackage it.
I have to see what they do with her. Because they're sticking with the Marvel's Katie.
Yep. Oh, Marvel. Well, at least they got ahead of the leaks, so, you know.
Yeah, I say, what's your turn out of that woman in the forest is the I can't remember what the Iron Fist was called.
Oh, Washi? Or
is that the one? First, who was Clean Wing related to in the series?
That's her. That'd be her grandmother or great grandmother.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're doing that thing with Awkwafina instead.
I've been saying that all along. Like, I have this feeling they're gonna backdoor the Iron Fists into this through this film through like weird connections. Like, and I'd be okay with that. Like, 100% okay with it. So
same.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to bring in Iron Fist in this thing, especially if you're going back to like old feudal Asia.
Exactly.
Like there's Guardian lines running about, which I want to know how that plays into everything. Just like, hey, wait a minute,
right?
Those things are real. How old is this guy?
Mm-hmm. Well. We'll talk more about it because guaranteed we're getting another trailer probably right before Black Widow so they can attach it to it. So, yeah, got a couple months to go till this really. So it's coming in September. We'll see how that 2 decades in the making, The Flash has officially started production.
It's about time. And there's still time for it to get a Justice League mold.
Yeah,
there's still time.
There is, because
they can absolutely still just wipe this thing off the face of the planet.
That Mortal is a cautionary tale for anything DC that you think is safe after starting production, because Mortal, literally, they had every set built and everything, screen tests, did all the poster shoots and everything, and then they're like, no. So,
like, fair play, that was, like 15 odd years ago at this point, but
yeah,
it's still the same company.
I feel
still easily dip.
Exactly. I feel bad that anything that WB puts into production that's DC, I'm like, I'll believe it when I see the trailer. That's always.
I think that's the majority of people. I always see that online.
Well,
so here's an announcement. So, I'll believe that when I see it. Like even when it starts production, it's like no, I'll believe it when I'm seeing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's like how I was with Venom. It's like, no, I've seen the trailer, but I don't believe it.
Yeah. I'll believe it when I see the damn thing. Let me have that. Yeah. I mean, look, it makes sense people are skeptical because of the nature of the project itself, just because,
Mm.
I mean, up until this week, till they confirmed it, Michael Keaton still officially did not sign on up until they started production. So it was like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, like, he was still in flux despite the fact that they literally made the film that revolves around him. Like,
That's nuts. Unless he was just talking absolute crap.
from what I understand, it wasn't because he was like, I'm not sure if I want to go there and travel there or whatever. So it's like, yeah, look, man, I get it because the way the planet is right now and everything, like he was being cautionary, which makes sense. But the other thing that I find interesting is like when they announced it, they mentioned Ben Affleck on the trades, but nothing in the like WB update for it. So is that like, what's up with that? What's up with the Ben Affleck thing? Like,
No, Affleck will be in it.
he's
There's
in it,
no
yeah.
ways, no.
But it's like, why didn't you just? I don't know. Maybe they're trying to keep that a
It's
secret
Warner
now.
Brothers. They're weird. They're weird. You know, the whole Ray Fisher thing, and then the other day they're like, "Oh yeah, we stand by." No. It's just kind of like, do you?
Yeah.
They're very wishy-washy.
Yeah,
Is how they do.
it's a situation with them, to put it the best. Now, something else that's sort of I guess come along with this and all the recent stuff is if you look at the whole Flashpoint idea and what WB has been saying recently, I think everybody sort of landed on this is definitely gonna soft reboot everything like they said it would, which to be fair, they said that like when they announced this thing all the way back at like Fandom when they made it official with the concept art and everything. So with that in mind, what's your kind of hopes for this, like, the thing? I don't even know what to call it, because it seems like it's doing so many things that...
I was gonna say it feels like everything but a Flash movie.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm landing at.
It's taking that aspect of Flashpoint where it's like it's not really a Flash story; it ends up being a Batman story.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just doing the same thing here. It's like, oh, we're gonna make a Flash movie, but it's Flash is just purely a vehicle for more Batman.
Yeah, and I mean that's the Flashpoint. The comic ended up being that as well. Almost, they just used Flash to be able to do this. Oh, Batman guns and darker characters and all this stuff. So it's not necessarily bad, but I know
you want the Flash. You're paying for a Flash movie. You want the Flash.
I was about to say, this is going to sound criminal and people are going to get angry at us, but guess what? In a Flash movie, I want Flash and not 3 versions of Batman, which is what we're getting. Like,
yeah. Isn't Christian Bale supposed to be back as well?
They were in negotiations with him, and interestingly enough, when Christian Bale is done with Thor, it seems like he's going it might just be coincidence that he's gonna go back home to where he lives, but also that's where they're gonna be finishing up production of Flash for a couple weeks. So who knows? There's been so much said about this film that you look at it, you're like, okay, so we're gonna have Flash, we're gonna have Ben Affleck's Batman, Michael Keaton's Batman. Rumors are still running rampant that we're gonna get the Flashpoint Batman, which, I mean, there's a lot of things, moving pieces in this film, and I'm excited for most of what we keep hearing because they're kind of being more transparent with this one. Like Andy Muschietti's always like, yeah, we're doing this and that. It's like, oh, okay. I don't know. Like, I'm hopeful.
I'll say I'm hopeful for this. I really want it to be good.
Same.
I think the fact they're planted the flag on, like, no, this is the one that's gonna fix everything. Like, this is the one where we're gonna show you and tell you exactly what we're planning and everything. So it's like, okay, I was on board for it anyway. But it's if this is the one you have to watch, then I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, and I also find it interesting that we got some details recently by the storyboard artist and people that worked with Snyder, like Jay Oliva and stuff, and he was like, oh yeah, the intent all along was for Flashpoint to be a reset point. It's like, huh.
Sure, it was.
Hmm.
Sure, it was. If that's the case, then why did Terrier say there was no plan whatsoever for the entire universe?
Yeah, it's again conflicting reports.
Mm. The fact that everything's conflicting just makes me believe Terrier more than anyone else.
I
It's
mean,
like people saying there were a plan, he's saying there wasn't a plan. Well, then there clearly wasn't a concrete plan.
yeah, yeah. It,
Which, you know, it was kind of evident anyway. But
I mean, that's been WB's thing, right? Like, oh, we got a plan. Check out this slate we announced. We're working with the greatest, directors and writers on this plan we dropped for you that includes Cyborg and Green Lantern Corp and all this. And then we learn every year after, it's like, no, that hasn't existed. That's not a plan. That's never been a plan. It's like, oh, okay,
yeah.
well, I guess, all right.
It's like you told us what we wanted to hear, but you had no intention of ever doing it.
Yeah, that's kind of
That's
the
what it
vibe.
feels like.
Yep, yep.
So no, we're going to tell you we're going to do this, but we're going to make more Batman instead.
Yeah, that's what you want, kids, right? Sure. I suppose. Well, I mean, with all that in mind, at least Flash is in production now. Hopefully, if they do a second DC fandom, which they said they would do more, I could expect we're probably going to get a teaser trailer this year at least, which,
Yeah, I can see something. Yeah.
I mean, if they dropped a teaser trailer for the Batman, which only finished like 10% of the shoot, why not?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
You know,
It's a good point.
all the
What I won't know is that this whole announcement thing. They
Mhm.
had the TV show music in there.
Yeah.
Is that an indicator, or is that just looking way too much into things?
I feel like it's an indicator.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because they've done it once, right? And they've always said the whole thing is to have everything connected. So it's like, you'd be kind of stupid not to do it, right?
Yeah.
Use it as a way to get Gust in a good suit finally,
Yeah.
and not like a giant red condom suit.
Oh.
I know people would like the new one, but like, it looks horrendous. It's just awful. It's just flat. It's
Yeah.
horrible.
It is what it is. I mean, hopefully we'll find out more production soon because this film seems to be a little bit more open than most DC films. So when some news hits, we'll talk about it. So this is a weird one because Sony's been making deals. Sony is trying to stay afloat by making any deal they can at this point, and this is one of those evident things. Because they first, like, what was it, maybe 2 weeks ago or so, they signed that deal with Netflix. That was like, hey,
Yeah.
first look and all this, and we're gonna make like 1.5 bill off of that one. And now they announced their new Sony deal, like Sony Disney Marvel
Disney deal.
deal. Yeah, and this is a weird one because, again, this is another major payday for them just to share their streaming content with Hulu, Disney Plus, ABC. Like, they're gonna share the entire like catalog of everything they own with Disney for all of their outlets. And they mentioned Freeform and like everything, ABC Family, which this is another bold step in Sony buying themselves more time before the inevitable. That's how I saw this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's kind of obvious what they're trying to do here because they're the only big studio without a streaming service.
Yep.
They obviously don't feel like their content that they have can sustain a streaming service. And to be honest, I think it's smart that they haven't got the library to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we're going to be that studio that leases everything out, which I'd imagine Disney's going to pay a lot to keep everything on there.
Yep. Yeah. That's.
But what I'm confused about is how long until they're actually on Disney Plus.
So this is the one. And from what I understand, Netflix on anything new that's coming, right? They have the exclusive first for a certain amount of time, which obviously that they were first, they got the biggest, best end of the deal. But older content that falls into, like, I guess, let's call it legacy for all intensive purposes, right? That's being piecemealed out, and the moment the deal goes into effect, starting, I believe, some is actually this summer. So that can go directly onto Disney Plus. So the one people are looking at is like, oh, how about Spectacular Spider-Man? Spectacular Spider-Man is tangled up in a few things and contracts, but extensively, that is one that they could automatically do something with, and other properties fall into that as well. Now, the timing of this, obviously, they're not going to disclose everything because there's so many factors that go into it, but it's looking pretty good that Sony's playing ball with so many people finally, and not doing the Sony thing of like, we're better, we could do this on our own, because there's none of that here when it comes to them trying to be a legit competitor. Like, it just doesn't exist.
No, it feels like they finally realized where their spot is in the grand scheme.
Yeah. And
it's like, we haven't got the money to do your streaming service, but we've got some content that's worth something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good deal. And the other big part of this, obviously, that was mentioned, it's on Disney's part. This includes all of well, I guess what's called the Sonyverse, like what, Spider-Verse now? Are they just settling on Spider-Verse? Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Or the Sony Cinematic Universe and Marvel characters.
Right, yeah. So that's all coming to Disney Plus as well. So it will all be lined up. They'll have all that content after it's released, after it, does its time on Netflix, which, again...
I think it's at 18 months from now.
Yeah, which is, honestly, that's great. That's, again... It's a one-stop shop outlet for everything Marvel. That's what Disney wants. That's what they're going to have. They're going to have the Marvel section that just constantly grows. And
now here's a question. Someone brought this up, I think, in our Facebook group, and I've been rattling my brain on this one.
Mm-hmm.
You on Disney Plus, you've got like Marvel Legacy movies.
Yes.
Marvel Cinematic Universe. Where do you put things like Venom, Morbius, Venom 2, and all of that?
So, as I understand it, which people have called back to something I probably shouldn't have said like a year and a half ago in a video. People are like, wait a second, Armin, you were talking about something like this, and kind of like, meh, don't worry about it. At the time, from what I understood, and the Fox stuff played out exactly like I stated it would be the Marvel Legacy. But the Sony deal, from what I've been told, and this was, at this point, like 5 months ago. So things could have changed when I said, hey, Sony wants one-stop shop, everything Sony Spider-Man in the section. It would have this Sony-branded logo. Like, Sony's logo would be on it. Sort of like when they made those deals to bring all of Star Wars, they had the, Cinemax logo here because it's exclusive partner to there or whatever, but they put it on there. Some of the stuff is tangled in something like that. Other stuff like the Spider-Man Far From Home, for example, and Homecoming will be slated in the MCU. And so it's going to be some weird crossover to begin. Now, the big one that people are trying to also figure out is, hey, what happens with Morbius and Venom? We don't even know how those connect to anything, so I think they don't want to reveal anything until we see them. I think that makes sense, right? Like, it's
just weird because they don't fit under Legacy, right? Because they're too new, right?
Exactly.
They're not literally not Legacy movies, and obviously, for the most part, as far as we know, they're not in the MCU. So, whereabouts do you make a whole new one? Do you have like Sony Pictures, or do you literally just put the Spunk category on Disney Plus and have that?
So, Kevin, it's just an image of freaking a trash can, and you click in, and suddenly you got Venom, Morbius, TASM 2, Spider-Man 3 in there.
It's got the sandwich that Pascal threw at Feige.
That's the image. It's a little sandwich. God, I don't know. Like, it's exciting though, because like it's
exciting for the US because this is only for the US. It's not happening anywhere else.
Right? Yeah.
So I think right now, in the UK, Homecoming and Far From Home and Spider-Verse are on. I think Venom as well are on Netflix right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they have been since last year. So it's interesting.
The deals are, I mean, you got to strike a deal for every individual territory. That's why every individual territory, has their own people that run the marketing and stuff. So this will be a slow rollout because you got to let some of these contracts go. Like Netflix UK, whatever deal they signed, the US deal doesn't affect that until it's over and then they renegotiate. So that's why some markets you see such a weird discrepancy for content and you're like, that makes no sense. But it's like, well, technically they're not like the same, right? Like they're not the same services. So it will all work out in the end. But just the fact that you're going to see like Sony's content on there, like you're going to see like Men in Black and stuff on Disney Plus. It's going to be like
another Marvel movie.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like and it's a Marvel property, Men in Black. So it's like, okay, like yeah, this gives me hope that these studios are working closer than ever. And if you look, they are. Like Rothman a year ago saying, yeah, we really want to work with Disney. And, I think this is more hope, which we'll obviously talk about this future down the road in another topic. But this is good. If you're looking at this and thinking, is there something bad here? No, this is good. This is all good news here.
Yeah.
Nothing bad. Secret Invasion with some secret castings. Who have we had recently cast? Because,
I can never remember her name. All I know is she's English and she plays the Queen in something. I want to say it's Olivia Colman.
I believe
that's her name.
I believe so. Yes.
So we've got Olivia Colman. She's in like final negotiations. Essentially, she's like, "Yeah, I'm going to do it. Just tell me what and where to sign."
Mm-hmm.
And we also the other day got Emilia Clarke.
Yay!
Which is the interesting one. So R.I.P. Emilia Clarke Mirror fans. Like, that ain't gonna happen. It actually could happen, but at least for the time being, nah. That's out the window because Feige finally got her. Which I think that's what, like the 5th Game of Thrones person got. Not including Finn Jones because that was Loeb and.
We don't talk about that. Don't exist. Come on, we know what's canon and what's not canon.
Even Finn Jones is like, I didn't do that.
Yeah, what are you talking about? That's a blank part of my career.
I was really high for 2 years. Just wondering you.
So the thing with this is, Emilia Clarke is a great get, and automatically the moment they got her, my brain jumps to, no way is this one and done. This is not happening.
No.
So,
well, is it like you have in Secret Invasion? I can never remember their names, but you have the Skrull Queen and the Princess.
Yes.
I want to say it's like Varanki and Nell. I want to say they're the names, and you just so happen to get two actors most known for playing royalty. It's just like, well, I understand the jump to think they're them. Yeah. I get it. I do. You have two high profile actresses coming into a show where there's two high profile characters that are female. I get it. I kind of hope they don't pigeonhole them like that.
Same.
But at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked. Because it's like, hey, Emilia Clarke could do a really good Mockingbird.
I mean, it's one of those things where the moment they cast, what's his name, who plays Jon Snow, god damn it.
Kit Harington.
Kit Harington. The moment they cast him, everybody was like, the moment the rumors hit, it was like, wouldn't it be great if he's Black Knight? We're like, they're not going to typecast him. Oh.
Yeah, they...
Oh, yeah,
but in fairness, he could be a really good Dane Whitman.
Yeah,
I can see it. He's going to be a really good one.
So that's the thing. It's like, I don't want to feel like I'm typecasting her, but at the same time, it's like, look.
At least Richard Madden got out of the typecasting.
Yeah, he did. Yup.
He's like, no, I'm going to be Icarus.
Yeah, I don't like... I am excited by this casting because I legit like her as an actress. Like, I think she's pretty good. Like, she's delivered some great roles. She can do emotional stuff. So, I think there's something here that makes me think, no, she's gonna be here for a while, and this cast is just gonna keep on expanding because they're supposed to start shooting this fall, I believe. So, like,
yeah, it's starting relatively soon. But the people that they've got for this cast just screams Emmy. It's like they want to go for an Emmy with this thing.
Yeah.
It's like you look at you're like, yeah, you're getting some big names in this. Like Christ.
The fact they already got Ben Mendelsohn is always great because I love Talos. I love the way he brings that to life. So
So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm banking that Sharon's going to be a Skrull in Falcon and Winter Soldier, so I wouldn't be surprised if she's going to be in it.
Yeah, that's one of those things. It's like they keep saying there's going to be more Skrulls and stuff pop up in places, which, okay, to be fair, that's cool. That works. And the way I look at this whole Secret Invasion thing is like the more mystery that I think they can keep in regards to it, the more excited I will be. I want it to be kind of like the comics itself, right? I don't want them to like make some very, how do I put it, spoilery statements. Like,
yeah, I get what you mean. It's kind of hard at the minute though, because it's like we know that the best way to keep Secret Invasion secret is by not calling it Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
And also by not having the Skrulls be about. I get the whole thing of, they've made Skrull the good guys and no one's going to suspect that. And it's like, well, you told us it's the bad guys are the Skrulls, so we know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, straight away, you know what's going to... The big thing of it, even though they could very easily be like, well, everyone knows the big thing is this, so let's go something like this. And do it that way. Maybe this is a way to get Hulkling into everything.
True.
And the reason why they're here is because they're just trying to look after this guy. But
hey, it could work, honestly. So, I mean, we'll know more the moment they announce more castings and stuff. I'm sure we'll talk about it and all that. So, yeah, Secret Invasion. Some good additional cast members, which we're both hyped for. HBO Max. We've had at least 17,000 different numbers to how many subscribers there are. 1 week it's, well, we included Zimbabwe's third cousin that may be streaming it off of Vudu, so that's 3. You're like, wait, what are these numbers? Finally, we actually have numbers on subscribers, and here's the thing. Oof.
Yeah, it's not great. Fair enough, they're only domestic, but the drop from Q4 to Q1.
Yeah. It's
not great. It's not great.
So the total number of subscribers across all HBO, like this is including, your TV subscription when you sign up for cable and everything and all that, it's like just over 40, which is like, this number's not like, it's not bad, but when you factor the HBO Max numbers into it, then it starts to look a little worse for HBO Max, because they're like, we added like 3.5 mil subscribers since Wonder Woman 84, and that added like 9 when they announced that deal. So their numbers are
they have a retention problem.
Yeah, that's kind of, I guess, the word I was looking for. Retention is not in their favor, and that's not where you want to be, I don't think. Like,
no, but I think HBO's been used to that, because HBO, before Max came out, when Game of Thrones was a thing, it had like 140 odd million.
Yeah.
And now combined together, it's got 47, 46, something like that. So it's like, yeah, this thing fluctuates like no man's business.
I mean, the thing with this is, and this is very evident if you look at it, they would be like, hey, new season of Game of Thrones, and then they get a huge boost. Like, that's how my parents would sub. They'd be like, oh, we're just watching Game of Thrones. The moment Game of Thrones is done, they're done till whenever the next season is. And so every time these reports come out, you understand now, oh, they're reporting on whatever the fluctuations are. But the medium, when all this is out, boosted, I put that in quotation marks, by the likes of Titans and stuff, it ain't really, this isn't a sustainable model. And you know what makes it worse is them announcing that shift to next year. Oh, we're not even going to do this day and date anymore. These numbers are just they're either going to maintain or fall. Like, it's...
Yeah. Because they have nothing new.
No, they don't.
It also doesn't help that HBO has that culture of, oh, cool, the big HBO show's out, I'm going to sub it. Oh, it's finished for the season, I'm going to unsub. I'll come back next year.
Yeah.
HBO's had that culture, from what I've gathered, for years. It's got to be at least 10 because of Game of Thrones.
Here, like, what's insane about that is you mentioned that in 2001, one of my best friends, his dad just like got a new house and everything, and he's like, hey guys, You guys want to watch something sweet? We're like, what? He's like, I subbed to HBO Max because Sopranos, I think it was like the second or third season or whatever. And he was like, we're going to watch it. And then we did. And he's like, all right, I'm done. And then he just, called up his cable company, was like, hey, I don't want HBO anymore. I caught up with Sopranos. I was like, oh, that's how that worked. And people are still doing that. So it's like, that's something that's been part of HBO Max for as long as I've known about, or HBO for as long as I've known about HBO. And it's translated to Max, and it's not good. This is not a good indicator for that service. Like,
but at the same time, if HBO's been doing it for like 20 odd years, then maybe Max can sustain it. But I think when you have two things doing it, it's not really. I don't know. We'll have to see. I think they need to do better marketing for starters, because they are not good on that front.
I think they need more content.
Content is a factor as well. Yeah. I also think. Well, I can't say name recognition because it's in the States only, isn't it? So everyone knows HBO.
Green Lantern, the series, announced a year before the entire Disney Plus slate for MCU shows. All those shows will be wrapped production and aired by the time we may or may not see an episode of Green Lantern. What the hell?
I mean, Christ, that thing was supposed to have started, and we have no idea who's playing anymore.
Nothing.
There's no cast, no announcement. They haven't even announced that they're starting production.
They announced Strange Adventures. Nothing on that. It's been dead silence for a year and a half. Like, there's a content problem, and I think people are realizing that, and it's just... It feels like they're...
And for the price as well, it's... from an outside perspective of someone who can't actually physically pay for it, it is a colossal waste of money.
Yes, it is.
I know six people like Titans. You are $16 a month to watch Titans. I'm sorry. That is a colossal waste of money. What you're doing with your life.
I am just lucky I got into that sweet deal that gave me like a year for half off or whatever with discounts, because whatever TV deal, I don't know, it was a good bundle that gave me like a year discounted, so like it works for me. But like I have like HBO Max, Disney, hell, I would value Paramount Plus higher than this, because Paramount Plus at least, like, I'm watching Clarice every week, I'm watching The Stand, which was great, there's constant Star Trek rolling out, like they're at least on a thing where every 2 to 3 months a new slate of like 6 new shows begins, because it's CBS just bringing all their content. We're still seeing the problem where why can I not watch Superman and Lois on HBO Max? Like that's a problem. They have a content issue problem, and that's really just at the center of it. Consolidate all your stuff. Bring all your CW stuff here, roll it all in. Like, I don't know what you need to do to make it a reality, but it needs to be done, because it's really just, it's absurd. And these numbers are not good, because Godzilla vs. Kong, like...
Their biggest thing this year, and it hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
It hasn't done anything.
It didn't move the needle at all. Like,
no,
barely.
It really didn't.
It's,
It made a ton of bucks up, or it's making a ton of bucks off. It's already beaten King of the Monsters, which is nuts.
Yeah.
It's got everything going against it pandemic-wise, and King of the Monsters still made less. It is a shame, because the flight attendant is the only thing I've actually seen from HBO Max, apart from Godzilla vs. Kong and the Snyder Cut. But the flight attendant is really damn good. You don't see anything about it.
No,
no one's talking about it. They don't market it. It's just like, oh, cool, this was the thing that happened.
Honestly, like, it's bad, because like the last thing I actively watched on there was Lovecraft Country, and anybody
so good.
Yeah, anybody I talk to about it, they're like, I have no idea what that is. I'm like, oh, damn. And I'm like, what's on HBO?
I don't even think HBO know, because they haven't announced a second season for it yet. Even though I think that's more the writers' side of things, where they're like, yeah, we're trying to figure it out first.
Yeah. Unfortunate, because that show is just so good, so good.
So season 1 had the book, and now we've got nothing. So no.
Yep. Well, hopefully we'll hear more about original content that can maybe help this service. But I think the deciding factor on the fate of this service will be when Peacemaker is on the way. if they shift any release strategy in some other format. They're like, hey, we're also going to make this available elsewhere, because if it's not HBO Max exclusive, that's the writing on the wall for this service, because it needs to be an incentive. Be like, go watch this thing only here, for the love of God. Just don't go anywhere else. But I don't trust WB.
It feels like they're. I know obviously all these streaming services are giant cash grabbing in the day. That's what the companies want. But it feels like they're being really obvious about it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, we're going to make all these things. It's like, we'll spend the money on it then. Like, actually make it to make the money back.
And they're missing basic content that they sell to their providers for cheap cash grabs. I don't get it. But hey, WB, I guess. We'll talk more about them next time we get more announcements for things that are 10 years away, like Green Lantern, apparently.
Spoilers for that topic. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. So, Spider-Man. What's his future in the MCU with this whole announcement of the partnership between Sony and Disney and all this? Because there's a lot of, obviously good here. Like, the outlets are talking to each other more than I think most people thought they would be, right? So it's like, there's good stuff here. What's your reaction and hopes for this whole thing, first and foremost, before we get into talking about everything logistically that could happen and maybe won't happen and will happen?
I think he's going to be here for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think this whole entire thing goes on for a good while. I think everyone's going to get what they kind of want. Where it's like, no, we're going to see this kid go to a fully grown adult.
Yeah, that's the vibe you get.
Character above.
Right, I guess that's something you get, and then that brings into the whole conversation the rest of the stuff, because like you are now, which we heard this rumor before was like, no, Feige's going to have involvement on all the Sony stuff going forward, like. He's going to have a hand in things like Venom sequels and more Morbius and whatever they're developing a standalone. And now if that content is going to be branded on Disney Plus as well, clumped in there, this makes me believe that there's more to that than meets the eye. Like, I'm suddenly like, you know what? That does sound true. Like, more so than ever before now. Like, you definitely get that vibe from it.
Yeah, it feels like another how the Disney Plus shows were being pitched.
Yep.
So here's an extension of everything. Like, here's the things that we want to tell but we can't. It's just like, well, Sony's like, well, we want to tell this, and Marvel's like, all right, but we're going to do it this way, and then that's it's like literally only for the Spider-Man corner,
right? And the weird thing on this is, and obviously it's in that report, it's in that release, literally all a lot of the content, but all the Spider-Man content or like Sony Marvel content will be coming to Disney Plus. Cartoon, live action, Spider-Verse spin-offs, which we know they're working on those cartoons, which now this also includes the live action TV show and stuff that, Sony's developing, which again, that makes sense. So
is that which one's that?
Silk?
Oh, cool. Is it Silk on Amazon Prime?
Yeah. Which, again, now you think about this, you're like, this new deal, there's nothing here Amazon. Amazon has not announced any partnership. Like, my guess is that we're going to hear that Amazon has probably dropped Silk at some point. Like, it's like, oh, this has been...
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
And then it's just going to get, oh, it's a Sony production. Oh, look, it's also on Disney Plus and this other streaming service. Like, there's a very weird... wording of everything when you read that like release of what's happening. And I know there's a lot of people that are also, obviously, Spectacular Spider-Man's got to come back. That's everybody's like riding high on that. I'll be the bearer of good news and bad news in one. The good news is, yes, it can come back.
Yeah.
Here's the bad news. The contracts for Spectacular Spider-Man are not just Sony Marvel. There is other factors in these contracts that have to be worked out if they want to make it a reality. It's a lot more... it's not as apparent as just two companies. Like, there were so many factors back in the day when that show was made, and voices in it like Avi Arad that have to go through different contract negotiations to make a sequel possible. So I'm not saying it's not going to happen. From what I've been told, it's an uphill battle to revive something like that, because just of the people that were involved, and specifically even some merchandise rights, because it was all over the place with old contracts that play into everything. So you have to kind of sit on that and go, well, hopefully if they can work it out, maybe something will happen, but you just never know, right? It's like a big question mark, like, over the entire situation.
Yeah. And it's silly because one of those things that everyone knows who would make it. People want it back.
Yeah.
And it's like, just make the bloody thing. Like, do whatever, gymnastics and loopholes you got to jump through. Yeah. Just make it happen. You'll make money.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and a part of this also goes back to the X-Men the animated series. Like, reviving that would be more money than Spectacular Spider-Man. I know Spectacular Spider-Man fans are about to attack me in the comments. But no, guys, the X-Men 90s cartoon has way more mainstream appeal than Spectacular Spider-Man. I'm sorry to tell you the truth. But it's just fact. Like, that 90s X-Men cartoon defined X-Men, and you still see that today. Like, that cartoon was so influential. Yeah. Like, I know so many people who know about Marvel and the X-Men and those characters just because of that cartoon. It was like something that people grew up on, and it was huge, just like the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. So I feel like if there's a priority list, Spectacular is probably under X-Men revival.
Yeah, it also probably helps the age of people who grew up with the X-Men and the Spider-Man cartoon from the 90s. Like, they're, probably like 30s, 40s. So they got a lot of disposable income to buy the stuff.
Yep.
Spectacular's very recent, in the last 10 years. So people who grew up with that aren't really going to have that much of an income.
That's what I want to bring up as well. I'm glad you tied around to that. If you look at the Marvel Legends figures and stuff they've been putting out, you're going to notice a lot of 90s X-Men figures and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, they know where the money's at. They got all the charts. They see the impressions. They see the sales. Like, it's one of those things where we can get down this road and down into, the nitty-gritty of the numbers. And yes, Spider-Man, he's the most popular, but that doesn't mean you get the most amount of sales just because you're the most popular.
Yeah.
So it's... I'm interested to see what this future holds for everything, because, I mean, you keep hearing about it, and it's very evident it's happened. Avi Arad has been outed. Like, he's been, he's not the big voice anymore.
So the question is, when was he gone? Was he gone from the original deal, or was he gone from the recent one, or has he just gone recently? I'm going to assume he's gone from the deal last year, or not last year, but year before, when after Far From Home.
That's gotta be my assumption, because anybody I've talked to, they said Abby's had very little in the last couple of years. They don't say, a bunch of years or a few years. It's like a couple of years. Yeah. It's like, that seems like it's recent, more so than
his name's still going to be on it, but he has absolutely no control.
Yeah. Yep. Which is good, because, I mean, let's get to the hypothetical here. Venom versus Spider-Man, or whatever Sony wants to do, right? Whatever Sony decides to do. Sony's going knocking on Kevin's door first instead of Abby's, being like, what can we do? Yeah. And that's good. That is the scenario you want, because, again, connecting everything just makes sense. So it's looking...
I mean, at this point, yeah.
Yeah, it's looking good. I can't say I've heard something from somebody, I don't know, maybe a month ago. I don't know. Time's weird now. Stupid lockdowns. I was talking to someone, and they said, in regards to Spider-Man live action, the reason those spin-offs haven't entered full production, like, Black Cat or Kraven or whatever the hell they were working on, is because Sony was negotiating with partners. Now, they didn't tell me which partner, but when they told me, hey, there's going to be some pretty important stuff coming with Disney and they want all those properties on there for a reason, I started to connect the dots and I'm like, oh, I see what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
Reading between the lines, what they told me in one thing and then what I was told in another, I'm like, oh, they're talking with Disney. Just tell me. And it makes sense when you see that, like, when they announced the Spider-Verse spin-offs, they're like, well, there's outlets out there for children's content where we could get Spider-Man or Spider-Ham on. And I'm like, who? Oh, Disney Kids. Okay, that makes sense. Like, you start to read between the lines of what people are saying and what other people you talk to are telling you. You're like, yeah, I see it. I see it now. So it seems like Disney's really committed to working.
It makes a lot of sense.
It does, yeah.
Especially after, how big the last two movies have been.
Oh my god, yeah.
You obviously want more of that. And I think also it just goes to show, when it all fell apart and then they made that deal quite quickly again.
Mm-hmm.
Like it felt very just quickly sap a patch and get the news out there that people, are gonna get people back on our side, and then we can figure everything else out afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we do want this. Ignore what this guy's saying. We do actually want this. Like, let's just carry on and do this.
Smart. That was a smart choice by them. So, any closing thoughts on this? Any hopes? Any?
I hope the reason why Holland said he's taking a break after No Way Home is because they're doing Superior Spider-Man.
That'd be nice.
It's like, let's just let's get Alfred Molina in his brother's body and do it that way.
Damn.
So don't take over Tom Holland, take over Brother Holland and do it that way.
That'd be kind of cool. Honestly, that'd be a really interesting take on Superior Spider-Man. I mean, yeah, I think give it a couple years, because obviously the deal's just announced, so it's got to start shaping up. Give it a couple years, we're going to be in a really good position for more Spidey in the MCU, which honestly is awesome, because why not? It's a whole world within itself. Expand it, and
he is going to be old.
Yeah.
By the time he's done.
Yeah, he is. Yes, he is. Which again, that's not because people have been asking about this. Does this mean the whole Spidey Sony deal and everything? Does this mean we could get a Disney Spider-Man series, like live action?
I'd imagine so.
From what I've been told, yeah. It's a little more complex than a straight up yes. Like, it's not like, yeah, we're doing Spider-Man, like a prequel on Disney Plus or whatever. But if they wanted to explore that, that is a possibility, and all sides would have to agree on it. So, let's say they do hypothetically spin Spider-Man off into a TV series. What do you want to see? What do you realistically think they do?
Oh, God. Honestly, I think it was Miles.
Yeah.
I think you have to do Miles. You kind of hint at something in the movies do with him, and then you just pick that thread up in the show and do like a 6 to 8 episode season.
I mean, you get Donald back as Prowler, right? And you do a smaller story centered on Miles. You make Peter Parker have a couple cameos here or there. You kind of do what the video game did.
You bring Peter in right at the end. You bring Peter in right at the end.
Honestly, I would legit just do what the Miles Morales video game did. Peter's got to go on vacation or something. Hey, Miles, you got to be Spider-Man while I'm gone. Here you go. Here's your story.
But that's if he knows who Miles is. You could easily do it where they don't know each other, and you kind of like the Ultimate Universe. Miles is his own thing for a little bit. Like Parker's out there, but Miles is very, incognito down the ground.
Yeah,
that way, and then you kind of have to meet.
I mean, that would also work. Yeah, I'd be super excited for that.
Then, you have him as a season, then the next Spider-Man movie is the big crossover between the two of them.
So you kind of do it Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel style?
Yeah.
That would honestly, that's probably the best case scenario, right? Like, yeah.
That thing would be cute. Like, you don't Spider-Verse it. Don't have like you don't need Toby. You don't need Andrew. Even though we get in that, so you haven't got to go back to that well. But like, if you have to do it, maybe do a Spider-Gwen, and you keep Spider-Gwen. I suppose you could make a different universe. Actually, there's nothing stopping you at the minute, but
exactly.
Or even a Silk, like you just have like the 3 and then do it that way.
I mean,
just don't call it Web Warriors for the love of God.
Yeah, my whole angle on this is like they're gonna make this a thing. The thing I don't want is what people tend to want online. They're like, I want between Spider-Man No Way Home and Spider-Man 4, I want a 12-episode miniseries of Peter Parker being Spider-Man. It's like, then what's the point of another movie? The whole point of this Disney Plus series is to give you other content that's separate. Like, that's the point of it. Like, so you'd have to expand the universe in a different way. Like, you can't do the same thing. Like, it's...
Yeah. Honestly, in an ideal world, No Way Home... I say in an ideal world, this is just me wanting Ultimate Fallout to happen. You have the Sinister Six beat the ever-living crap out of Tom Holland, and you comatose him. Comatose that character for about a year and a half or something, and just have Miles take over.
That'd be kind of cool. That'd be a good angle on it.
Because that way you're sticking to how Miles came about, kind of, but you're keeping Peter around as well.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a smart choice. That'd be. That's
how I personally do it. But...
No, well, it's a good idea. That's the thing. Like, it could work, and you could make that thing a reality. And I think that the way I kind of look at it is another weird one of those. You're gonna get this entire world and working with the studio. So now that Sony and you can kind of agree on stuff, you want to expand this world, and Sony really, really wants to do more Spider-Man content and live action to make this character last, which, again, that's kind of the way to do it, right? Like, don't expand with, full-time Spider-Man TV series, because, again, the main Spider-Man's got to stay on TV or in film where he's going to make $1 billion in box office every entry now.
Exactly.
But you got this possibility now where you're open to doing other Spider-Man, exploring the world, seeing what happens. Like, utilize that to your full advantage and give people something new. A Miles Morales is the perfect way to go. A TV series set in the Spider-Man universe is a perfect way to go about it. There's nothing here that I could perceive as a bad choice for anybody. It would only help everybody. Like, it helps literally everybody involved. So it's one of those everybody wins scenarios, nobody loses, because, well, how would they lose, right? Like, it benefits everybody involved. Like,
exactly.
Yeah. I hope
the amount of money they'd get.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I mean, Disney would, or at least you would hope Sony is kind of smart and it works out something like, hey, if this thing happens on here, let us get a share of that merchandise back. Like, even if it's a small percentage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, even if it's small.
Be like, no, the merchandise is ours.
Yeah.
If you want the merchandise, we're paying 50% of the movie, like the production cost now, as opposed to 25.
Right, yeah.
And you just slowly take everything over that way.
Kevin, that Moogle, what are you doing?
Completely.
That's his final send-off to everybody. I got him. Yeah.
His retirement speech is just him snapping his fingers and vanishing. It's like, the work is done. It nearly killed me.
That's a kind of amazing visual there. Well, I suppose that's brought us to the end of the show. Yeah, we got
an hour and 10 minutes out of that.
Damn! All right, this was a stacked show. We really had a lot to talk about, which it's in stark contrast to like last week's. We're like, we filled up 35 minutes and we said everything. I guess that's it. You know. Yeah.
And in fairness, about 15 minutes of that is just pure fluff at the start. But...
That's okay. That's acceptable. People need to know about investing in Doge in the future.
I never know how to pronounce it. Is it like Doge? Is it Doge? Is it Doge?
I've been
Like,
told
no
it's
one's...
douche by a friend of mine, so I just go by that.
So I've never heard it out loud, so it's one of those words. It's like, oh. Well.
She told me
It's like every
douche.
word in comics that you have no idea how to pronounce.
Yeah, until it's said in live action, it's don't worry about it. Yep, that's how it goes.
A bit like Shang-Chi. It's like, oh, it's Shang or Sung.
Yeah.
Chi. Like, okay.
Well, I suppose, So yeah, thank you everybody for joining us for another week. We will be, of course, dropping, or might have already dropped if you're listening to this over the weekend, final audio commentary for Falcon and Winter Soldier will be up. So make sure you guys check that out if you're a member of the community, because I'm pretty sure we're going to have a lot to talk about. My clairvoyant mind is telling me there's going to be a lot to talk about tomorrow when I watch the episode. So
imagine if there's not.
Oh.
Just like, well, huh?
Dude, Sam opens the suitcase. It's just the same suit.
It's just Turkish delight. That's what I'm hoping for.
He opens it up.
It says it was from the Wakandans. It's like, it was from the Wakandans. Via Zemo.
Oh. He opens it up and Bucky just gives it a middle finger and says, "I'm the captain now," and he's wearing the suit.
Low JK, I have the shield. Bye.
Oh. Well, no.
P.S. I'm dating your sister now.
Yeah. I'm their daddy now. Oh, no. Why?
Bless him.
Guess who owns the boat now? Whose name is on it? Oh, what have you done, Bucky?
Bucky's character just does a complete 180 because he's sad because he's horny. That's all it is.
See,
this is the root of his problems. Is he needs a horny bunk. Yeah.
This is actually what we didn't know. The whole cause of Multiverse of Madness is Sam running to Doctor Strange being like, "Fix this now," and they get lost in time.
I need a new sister.
Oh, that's the What If episode.
Bucky.
Marvel's What If Bucky became the daddy. Oh no.
Daddy Barnes.
Somewhere out there, there's fan art of this. You just know it exists. Like it's
100%. Tumblr and like Pinterest and all that, like DeviantArt is filled with it.
Oh yeah.
I imagine there's even Fat Bucky, like the really obese things that they do on DeviantArt. That's weird. Like the fat fetish. It's weird.
Oh, yeah. That's gross. Why do people do some of these ridiculous ones? I'm like, I've seen some that like some of my friends she's a huge Bucky fan. Actually, I got a couple of them, and I'm always like, "What the hell is the wallpaper on your phone? What? I don't need to see this."
What gets me is the art's always really damn good.
Yeah, it is.
Like it's drawn well, it's coloured well. It's just like, why do you draw that?
Yeah,
like not to you draw whatever the hell you want, but why? I just like to know why. What is it?
Well, with that in mind, we'll find out if he's Papa Bucky or not soon. So, later, everybody.